again, everyone. I'm just waiting for my slides to, yeah, so I have like the privilege of being the final speaker for today, which I know is always like the most exciting one, right? Yeah, so I kind of sort of see my presentation as a continuation of Roy's story. I feel like from Roy's presentation, it should be very clear the importance of this work with smallholder farmers and climate risk insurance. But in any case, I would just like to share with you a little bit about what Ether Risk and specifically like the team that I'm from, Ether Risk Impact, is doing with in this space. So yes, same question as you, how do I move the slides? But now I know. Great. So yeah, just a few brief words about Ether Risk Impact. We are the impact arm, it's in our name, of the Ether Risk ecosystem. And what that means is that we focus on bringing to scale use cases that relate to basically insurance with social impact. So generally inclusive insurance, but our current priority right now is very much on climate risk insurance for smallholder farmers. So if you are familiar with the work of Ether Risk and the generic insurance framework and how it works, you know that we work largely with parametric insurance. So for example, things like rainfall insurance and so on. I myself am from an international development and regulatory background. I worked slightly over 10 years in inclusive insurance, first as a regulator at the Malaysian regulator, where I was spearheading the micro insurance initiatives there. So very, very much TradFi, and I don't know if you would say even worse at a regulator. And yeah, and after that, I moved to the Access to Insurance Initiative, which is a global organization that works with insurance regulators in emerging markets to help them sort of make insurance more inclusive and innovative. So that's about me. That's about Ether Risk Impact. And great. So I think it should be clear from Roy's presentation, but why focus on smallholder farmer risks? Why is Ether Risk Impact working in this space? Firstly, we think there's a huge problem to solve. The climate protection gap is extremely large. So to sort of borrow Aeon's data here, in 2022, 58% of global losses related to climate and disaster events were uninsured. So which means out of 313 billion, about 181 billion were uninsured losses. So that's a really huge gap. Secondly, I'm not sure whether you've heard this saying of how climate and disaster events do not discriminate in who they impact, but ultimately smallholder farmers and vulnerable people are the ones who suffer the most. So that very much sort of drives our mission here. And I mentioned earlier in the panel how there are about 500 million smallholder farmers in the world, estimated. The data is actually very shaky on this one. And about 3% of that, only about 3% of these farmers are insured.